Skill is the only currency that never crashes. What if the reason you're broke right now has nothing to do with the economy, your background, or your luck, and everything to do with the fact that nobody has ever paid you to think? The world doesn't pay for effort. The world pays for outcomes. And outcomes come from skills. Every single person who has built wealth from zero, not inherited it, not stumbled into it, did it because they got dangerously good at one specific thing that solved a painful, expensive problem for other people. Not 10 things, one thing. The shocking truth is that most people spend their entire lives being average at many things and never become exceptional at one. But the market rewards specialists ruthlessly. A doctor who is okay at everything earns a salary. A neurosurgeon earns a fortune. The same principle applies to every field. Your job right now, if you have zero money, is not to make money. Your job is to become so skilled at something valuable that money becomes the logical consequence. Stop chasing income, start chasing competence. Because the moment your skill crosses the threshold of genuinely solving a real urgent problem for someone who has money, they will hand it to you without hesitation. Skill is the only currency that compounds, cannot be stolen, and never loses value in a recession. Your first dollar comes from solving one person's problem. What if you've been thinking about making money completely backwards, dreaming about reaching millions of people when the only thing standing between you and your first dollar is one single human being with one single problem you already know how to solve? Every empire started with one transaction, not a product launch, not a viral moment. One person, one problem, one solution, one payment. The reason most people never make their first dollar online or offline is not because they lack ideas. It's because they're paralyzed by scale before they've even proven value once. The brutal reality is this: you don't need a website, a logo, a brand name, or a business plan to make your first dollar. You need a problem, a person who has that problem, and the confidence to say, I can fix that and it'll cost you this much. That's it. That is the entire engine. Everything else, funnels, marketing, automation, scale, comes after proof. And proof is one paying customer. One. When you shift your mind from how do I build a business to whose life can I improve by Tuesday, the entire game changes. Money flows towards solutions. The more specific your solution, the more valuable it becomes. Stop building in the dark. Go find one person, solve one problem, and collect one payment. Leverage is the difference between trading time and building wealth. What if every hour you've ever worked for money was actually keeping you poor? Not because work is bad, but because trading time for dollars is a ceiling disguised as a ladder. Here is the uncomfortable truth that no one tells you when you're starting from zero. There are only 24 hours in your day. If your income is directly tied to your hours, your income is mathematically capped. Period. The people who escape poverty, real, permanent escape, do it by learning to leverage things that scale without them. That means content that works while they sleep, systems that deliver value without their presence, teams that multiply their output, products that sell without a conversation. Leverage is not a shortcut. It is the fundamental mechanism behind every large fortune ever built. The question is not how hard can I work? It's how can I build something that works when I stop working? A person who works 80 hours a week with no leverage earns a job. A person who builds one system that serves 10,000 people earns freedom. Starting from scratch means starting with time leverage first, creating assets like content, courses, templates, or offers that can be delivered repeatedly without starting over every single time. The moment you build one thing that earns money more than once, you have crossed the line from employee to owner. The offer is everything. No one buys products, they buy outcomes. What if the product you're trying to sell is completely irrelevant, and the only thing your customer actually cares about is what their life looks like after they buy it? This is the most expensive misconception in business. People obsess over their product features, their service quality, their credentials and certifications, when none of that is what makes money move. Money moves when someone believes with emotional certainty that their life will be better after the transaction than before it. That belief is created by your offer, not your product. An offer is not a price tag on a thing. An offer is a packaged promise of transformation, wrapped in specificity, de-risked by a guarantee, and priced against the alternative of doing nothing. When you build an offer correctly, you are not competing on price. You are making price irrelevant by making the value so obvious it becomes irrational to say no. Starting from scratch, your most powerful asset is not capital or connections. It's the ability to construct an offer so compelling that the right person reads it and says, I'd be an idiot not to do this. Learn to build offers before you learn anything else about marketing. An average product with a great offer outsells a great product with an average offer every single time. Distribution beats product every single time. What if the best idea in the world is sitting in someone's head right now, completely worthless because no one knows it exists? This is the silent killer of every potential empire. Most people building from zero believe that if they just create something good enough, the world will find it. They won't. The internet is not a meritocracy. It is a visibility game. And visibility is won by distribution, by consistently showing up in the places where your ideal customer already spends their time, their attention, and their money. The people dominating their industries right now are not always the most talented. They are the most visible. They post more. They talk more. They show up more. They share their thinking, their process, their failures, their wins relentlessly across channels without waiting for permission. When you are starting from zero, distribution is the great equalizer. You don't need a massive budget to reach people. You need consistency and clarity. One platform, one message, one audience compounded over time. The mathematical reality is this. One piece of content posted daily for 1 year is 365 touch points with potential customers. One touch point per week is 52. The person posting daily does not need to be more talented. They just need to show up. Build your distribution engine before you need it, because when you finally have something to sell, the audience is already waiting. Reinvesting before lifestyle is the entire secret to compounding wealth. What if the reason most people who finally start making money never actually build wealth is because they spend their first profits on looking successful instead of becoming successful? This is the trap that swallows 90% of people the moment income starts flowing. The first signal of money feels like permission. Permission to upgrade the car, the apartment, the wardrobe, the lifestyle. And in that moment, the compounding machine gets destroyed before it ever runs at full speed. The fundamental law of wealth creation from zero is this. Every dollar you earn in the early stages of your business is not income, it is ammunition. And the person who reinvests their ammunition into better skills, better systems, better distribution, and better offers will, without exception, dramatically outpace the person who converts every dollar into lifestyle. This doesn't mean you live in misery. It means you understand the difference between a want and an investment. An investment makes you money next month. A want costs you the money you could have made next year. The most powerful thing a person starting from scratch can do is develop an almost aggressive tolerance for delayed gratification. Not forever. For long enough. Because the math of compounding is ruthless in both directions. It punishes the spender and it rewards the reinvestor with a gap that becomes impossible to close over time. What if everything you were ever told about making money was designed to keep you dependent on someone else's system? What if the job, the salary, the stable career, what if all of it was just a beautifully packaged trap? Not because anyone was malicious, but because the people who designed those systems needed workers, not owners, needed employees, not competitors. And you walked right in. I'm not here to make you angry. I'm here to give you something more dangerous than anger. I'm going to give you clarity. Let's start with the most brutal truth in this entire room. The market does not care about your effort. The market pays for outcomes, full stop. You can work 12 hours a day digging a ditch and earn less than someone who spent 12 minutes writing the right email to the right person. That is not unfair. That is the game. And the first rule of the blueprint is this. Skill is the only currency that never crashes. You want to build from zero? Don't start with money. Start with competence. Pick one thing. One painful, expensive problem that real people with real money desperately need solved. Get dangerously good at solving it. Not decent. Not good. Dangerous. Because when your skill reaches that threshold, money doesn't chase you, it gravitates toward you like a physical law. Here is where most people get lost. They think their first dollar requires a business, a brand, a website, a logo, a plan. It doesn't. Your first dollar requires one person with one problem and you with one solution, and the guts to say, I can fix that, and here's what it costs. That's it. That is the entire machine in its simplest form. Stop building in the dark, waiting for everything to be perfect. Go find one human being whose life you can improve by Tuesday. Solve their problem. Collect the payment. That single transaction will do more for your confidence, your clarity, and your momentum than any business plan ever written. Now here's the part nobody wants to hear. Working hard is not the path to freedom. Working hard inside a leverage system is. Every hour you trade for money is an hour with a ceiling. There are only 24 hours in your day. If your income scales with your hours, your income is mathematically capped. The escape is leverage. Content that earns while you sleep. Systems that serve customers without your presence. Products that sell without a conversation. Starting from zero doesn't mean you build leverage last. It means you build it first, in its simplest form, and you let it compound. One piece of content that teaches your skill. One template that solves your problem at scale. One offer that delivers results without you doing it manually every single time. That is your first leverage asset. Build it. I need you to hear this next part very carefully because it is the part that separates the people who make money from the people who build wealth. Nobody buys your product. They buy the outcome your product promises. And the mechanism that delivers that promise is your offer, not your price, not your features, your offer. The transformation, packaged, specific, de-risked, and made so obvious that saying no feels stupid. If you can build an offer that is genuinely more valuable than it costs, not seems more valuable, actually more valuable, you will never have a money problem again. Learn to build offers before you learn anything else. An average product with an outstanding offer beats an outstanding product with an average offer every single time. Every single time. The fifth thing, the one that's quietly killing every talented person who's been building in silence for months or years. Distribution beats product. Visibility beats talent. The internet is not a meritocracy. It rewards presence. The people running their industries are not always the best in their field. They are the most consistently visible in their field. One platform, one message, one audience. Show up daily. Not when you feel inspired, not when you feel ready. Daily. Because in a game of compounding, the person who shows up 365 times per year has an advantage over the person who shows up 52 times that no amount of talent can overcome. Build your audience before you need it. Because the moment you have something to sell, the only thing standing between you and revenue is people who already trust you. And finally, the one mistake that kills more potential wealth than any other, spending your first profits on lifestyle instead of reinvesting them into growth. The first dollar you earn in your business is not income, it is ammunition. Every dollar you reinvest into a better skill, a better system, a stronger offer, a wider distribution, that dollar multiplies. Every dollar you convert into lifestyle, the car, the apartment, the clothing, that dollar disappears. The math of compounding is ruthless in both directions. Develop a tolerance, an almost aggressive tolerance for delayed gratification, not permanently, just long enough for the machine to reach the speed where it becomes unstoppable. Because that moment comes, for everyone who stays in the game long enough. The only question is whether you'll still be in the game when it does. What if I told you that the reason you don't have money right now is not your circumstances, not your education, not the economy? It's because no one ever showed you the actual blueprint, not the motivational quotes, not the work harder advice. The actual step-by-step sequence that takes someone from zero, no connections, no capital, no audience, to generating real, consistent income that compounds over time. I've watched people with less than you have right now build life-changing income, not because they got lucky, not because someone handed them a check, but because they understood 6 specific principles that most people never learn. And in the next few minutes, I'm going to walk you through every single one of them. No fluff, no theory, no vague inspiration. This is the blueprint. And by the time we're done, you're going to realize that the only thing that was ever stopping you was information. Stay till the end, because the last principle is the one that actually makes all the others compound. Let's get into it. Let me bring it all together, because this is where most people take notes but don't take action. And the difference between those two things is the difference between knowing the blueprint, actually building something with it. You now have 6 principles that stacked together form an unbreakable foundation for making money from zero. Get dangerously skilled at one valuable thing. Make your first dollar by solving one person's problem. Build leverage so your time stops being your ceiling. Construct offers so compelling that price becomes irrelevant. Show up with consistency until distribution becomes your unfair advantage. And reinvest before lifestyle always, without exception, until the machine runs itself. None of these are complicated. All of them are hard. And that's exactly why most people won't do them. But you're not most people. You watched this all the way through. You took it seriously. That already puts you in a category above 90% of the people who started watching this and gave up. The blueprint is in your hands. What you build with it, that part is entirely up to you.